So what's going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video where today I want to discuss Season 2 of Vanguard Zombies, the content that we got, and I suppose my overall opinion on the game. Has it changed? Has it gotten better or worse? We are now in March, almost. So pretty much 5 months into this game's life cycle. No, we still don't have a pause button. When you think about it, that's pretty crazy. Treyarch are still working on that apparently, but when we all first saw the roadmap for what we were getting in Season 2 Zombies, I would say a lot of people were excited. Some people like me were. I definitely wasn't optimistic, even though it looked like it had a ton of content. In reality, I knew a lot of what we were being shown was just, well, things that should have been in the game from day one. We got the ray gun, the wonder weapon in quotation marks, which is the shield, the Decimator. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Of course, the brand new Zombies map, Decimator, or however you pronounce it, I still don't know. But I also don't really care because it's another objective-based map like Untitled. Still no round-based content, which everyone's been asking for 5 months into the game's life cycle. Even though they've added some of the basic features we were missing, a pack-punch camo, as I just mentioned, the ray gun, that's always a staple in Zombies. It's still missing quite a few things, and the basics of, in my opinion, not only Call of Duty Zombies but Treyarch Zombies specifically, which is round based, isn't here 5 months later. Anyway, so as I was saying, I know some people were very excited about this Season 2 update. I personally wasn't, and when it dropped a week ago, or just over that now, I think I recorded a video on the day it came out talking about something else, and I mentioned in that video on the day of release that was the first time I can ever remember me not playing a brand new Zombies map on day one. I'd done that for every Cold War map, BO2, 3, 4, Black Ops 1, not World at War because I was a bit too young then. I only really got into Zombies during BO1 2010, but ever since I discovered this game mode, I would always play the brand new Zombies map, whether it be on disc or DLC, on day one, even if that meant when I was 14, 15 years old, coming home from school, loading up my PlayStation, or I would have played Xbox during that time, and still played the new Zombies map as soon as it came out. And well, this new one we've had in DLC 2, I didn't do that. This was the first time ever I didn't feel the need to play Zombies. And I also kind of had that feeling with Vanguard. Yes, I did play that on day one, but only, I don't know, for an hour, and then I turned it off. Normally, when we have a new Zombies map, I end up playing it for hours up and end, but I could tell straight away that this mode just wasn't for me. But here we are now, a week and a half later. I've managed to try out the Zombies content we got in Season 2, and I wanted to give you my opinion on what I thought about it, my review, where we are now with this mode 5 months later, and ultimately just say, has it improved since it released? If it has gotten better, great, but if it hasn't, can I see it improving or reaching the standards it should be at by the end of this game's life cycle, in about 9 months time? So first off, as far as the map goes, Decimator or whatever it's called, straight away it's just something that doesn't interest me. And that's not necessarily to do with the map itself, the layout, the design, but more the fact that it's an objective-based game mode. That is the reason I didn't like Vanguard, or at least part of it. There are other reasons as well. As I've mentioned many times in previous videos, that is the reason why I didn't like Outbreak. I just don't like this objective style mode that we have in Zombies now. So no matter how good or bad this new map was, ultimately it was never really going to be for me just because I don't like this style of gameplay. I find it too boring, repetitive, having to do the same objective over and over again. And even though they've added more objectives into the game, I don't know how many there are now, maybe 6 or 7, it is still, in my opinion, nowhere near enough for it not to feel like you're doing the same objective every other round, because, well, you are. I said when Vanguard came out, we need at least 10 objectives in this game for it to be sufficient, but actually playing it now, I honestly think we need even more, maybe 15. It has to get to a point where you're not doing the same objective every 1, 2 or 3 rounds. You should be repeating the same objective, in my opinion, every, I don't know, 7 or 8 rounds. Surely, in fact, I know Treyarch know the community's reaction on this. They know that the majority of people don't want this style of gameplay, so why they've given it to us again for DLC 2 or Season 2, I don't know. I'm guessing more than likely they would have started making this before they saw the reception, so perhaps in the next DLC map that we get in Season 4, I guess, maybe then we'll actually get our first round-based Zombies map. But ultimately, I just don't think we're going to get one in this game at all because of time restraints, the size of the team working on this mode, and because of the plan they had for it from the beginning. I don't think we're getting a round-based Zombies map within Vanguard Zombies. We're just going to be getting new hub locations, new areas or regions, and objectives. So yeah, the map for me, once I've played it once or twice, I just don't have any interest in playing it again. And that's where I'm at right now, a week later. The visuals of the map itself are pretty decent, although at the end of the day these are just maps taken from, again, the campaign and multiplayer, and the Zombies team have just added a few red crystals here and there. Just like Vanguard, these maps aren't designed for the zombies mode, they were designed for multiplayer. And again, you can tell that. There is one map that's been designed specifically by the zombies team. It takes place in the Dark Ether. Looking at it, visually it is very impressive, which makes me even more sad to know that most of the maps in this game are taken from multiplayer. When you look at this one region that the zombies team have made themselves and how good and impressive it looks, and then you compare it to the multiplayer areas, it's quite sad knowing what they could do if they were given the time and resources. At the end of the day, that's probably what it all comes down to. That's why they're reusing so much multiplayer and campaign content. But yes, even though this new zombie specific area is nice, it's still very small. It's a region, it's an area. It's not really somewhere you can stay for a whole game. It's not a whole map, it's a small area. So yeah, even though it's nice and pretty, at the end of the day, it's just a tiny region within Terra Meridicta. Moving on to the wonder weapons, Treyarch told us we'd be getting 2 new wonder weapons within Season 2, and that was the ray gun and the shield. I've got 2 totally separate things to say about these, starting off with the ray gun, I guess. Now, when I played it, when I got this footage, I know a lot of people were saying the exact same thing that I'm going to say, and it was bad. The damage was terrible. If we compared it to the amazing version of the ray gun we got in Cold War, how overpowered that was, this one in Vanguard just feels very underwhelming, which when the ray gun is one of the only wonder weapons in the game, that's not what you want. You want it to feel powerful. But my other issue with it is not the amount of recoil, but the amount of, I don't know what you call it, screen shake. It feels like Brutus is on the map every time you shoot this thing. Treyarch have just buffed the ray gun, so I'm not too sure how much better there is now. I haven't tested it out, but as long as this is happening every time you shoot it, it's a little bit annoying. And then the other wonder weapon in this map, or at least that's what they advertised it as, is the Decimator Shield. Yeah, this is definitely not a wonder weapon. It's an insult to call it that. One, when I say shield ever been a wonder weapon in a zombies game, I don't know. And 2, a wonder weapon, as I've just said with the ray gun, is supposed to be powerful. It's supposed to be useful. You're supposed to be able to use it consistently. Say for example, the ray gun, you shoot it, reload, shoot, reload. That's the same principle for any wonder weapon, but with this shield, you can use its ability once, and then you have to wait 90 seconds for it to cool down, and then you can use it once again. That isn't how wonder weapons work in zombies. Like I said, I don't think there's ever in the history of this game ever been a wonder weapon that works like this, where you can shoot once or use its ability once and then have to wait 90 seconds to use it again. I think that would be fine if Treyarch didn't advertise this as a wonder weapon, but they did. And also the fact that you have to complete the Easter egg in order to access it. Yes, the Easter egg isn't too long, and that normally wouldn't be too much of an issue because there are some wonder weapons where we have to do that, or at least steps in order to acquire them, say the staffs and origins, the bows and Horizon Tracker. I wouldn't call this an Easter egg, but you do have to do steps in order to get it. That is fine as long as the wonder weapon is worth it. The Decimator Shield isn't. It's bad. The other thing or person I wanted to mention was the new boss on this map. I have seen a lot of people complaining that she is annoying or too difficult. I personally would disagree. I think she's pretty easy. I know she's being compared to the denizens. For me, she's nowhere near on the level of annoying as those were. To be honest, in terms of difficulty, I don't think she's that bad. She does have an immune phase, which sometimes in zombies can be annoying. The Vanguard had that. Honestly, I think she's pretty cool. I like the design. I would say though, after killing her a couple of times, from what I could tell, she spawns in every single round. So after killing her 2 or 3 times, it can get a little bit infuriating, have to do it every round. Maybe if she spawned in every 5 rounds, every 3, that would be okay. Not every single round. It can get boring very quickly, but I wouldn't say she's difficult, and her attacks are easy enough to avoid. Which then really brings me on to my final point, which is the Easter egg or storyline in this map. The Easter egg itself, again, is it's an insult to Easter eggs. This is advertised as a story quest. Yeah, this should be advertised as a side Easter egg. That's essentially what it is. It takes about 20 minutes to complete. Is it worth it? No, because there's no end cutscene, and your end reward is some loot, so some salvage and a pack-a-punch gun, and you also get the Decimator Shield, which, as I mentioned earlier, isn't worth it. The Easter egg is extremely easy, anyone can do it, but that's what you'd expect by now in zombies. You pretty much walked through Easter eggs these days, there's no challenge to them, so I've gotten used to that. But for me, being a story person, that's what's so disappointing about it. The storyline in Vanguard Zombies is... I just find it incredibly boring. There's way too much talking from Craft, the artifacts, Von List, the operators. A lot of the time, all 4 of them are talking over each other, so unless you have subtitles on, you can't tell what they're saying. The dialogue on this game is an absolute mess, it's all over the place. But even without that, it's just tiring listening to these characters talk. They're disinteresting. I don't particularly find the voice acting too good either. I don't know who's voice acting people like Von List or the Elder Gods, but most of it I don't think's that good. A lot of the characters for me, Syraxis is... I think the dialogue's very cringe and the writing's pretty poor. But yeah, having to listen to the characters drone on for 5 minutes, it's disinteresting, and for me it's the totally wrong way to tell a story. Like I said, being a storyline person, I think this is the first time ever since I've started playing this game where I'm not interested. It's just a lot of filler. What these characters tell us isn't exciting. They just drone on and have conversations with each other where it feels like you're just there on the side listening, but you don't really want to listen. It feels like it's too much talking, but funnily enough, that's also the only way they can really tell the storyline in this game, because there are no cutscenes, there are no ciphers, no documents. Everything we are told is through conversations, either through the Elder Gods, Von List, or radios or craft, and it just becomes very overwhelming. So yeah, that is my summary of Season 2. If you couldn't tell, I'm pretty disappointed because here we are 5 months later. I wouldn't have thought 5 months ago that I would have been saying, you know, almost halfway through this game's life cycle, this game hasn't gotten any better. Besides from Pack-a-Punch camos, which is a basic in zombies anyway, the ray gun, when I played it, wasn't good, although it has had a buff, so maybe it is now. The Decimator Shield is not a wonder weapon, it shouldn't be advertised as one. This is not a main quest, it's a side Easter egg, so we still don't have main Easter eggs in this game. The storyline is extremely boring, the way it's being told isn't right. Yeah, I don't think this game has gotten better, and can I see it getting better? If I'm speaking truthfully, no. Anyway, there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.